investors, realtors of Savannah. I spent thousands and months of work to make revisions to plans that I didn't need to make in the first place. And I'm going to tell you about that. So, I'm Matt with the Chelsea Phillips Group, and I've been in the permitting development process for a better part of 4 years now, going through different projects, everything from commercial to residential, carriage houses, and everything else. And so, I wanted to share a quick story about what happened to me recently with the newest project that I've tried to do. So, this is one that I really wanted to take on because it's my first full build for myself personally, not for the company. And I've spent months and months and months looking every single day, opening my phone in the morning, going to the searches, trying to find the property that I could find to really made sense, right, for me, because I'm so strict with it. I don't take my own advice. I really I should loosen up the standards, but hey, we all do it in our own ways. So, but after finding that property, tough negotiations, going through it all, I knew that this was the property I wanted because I did not need a variance. I did not need anything special with it. Everything met the standard criteria with it. And so after I get it under contract, I start that day. I go and I email basically everybody that I know that I need to go through and work on these plans to start them so that I could move forward with it. Now, we're not going to talk about all the hard money loan for the architect stamps and all this other kind of stuff that they made me jump through hoops. But that's not the city of Savannah. So after I got everything approved, or after I got everything handled with the house, bought it, and we're about to wrap up the plan set, I had spent weeks going through just the zoning part of it so I would understand if this thing would work, right? Because my whole goal behind this is that I wanted a garage with an ADU and storage also attached. And it's not something that is super common, but going through the standards, I really didn't see anything that was an issue with it. I have some toys that I wanted to put in the garage. I also wanted kind of more of a dog washing station and different storage and knickknacks for the storage area. And then I also wanted an ADU. These houses are small, and I also wanted that extra income. So that was my plan with it. And when I went, after painstakingly doing all that, submitted it to the city, everything was approved. So we went through mechanical, building, we went through plumbing and electric, and everything was approved besides zoning. And so zoning came back to me and they said, hey, you can't do multiple uses on a property. And I'm like, I understand that you guys, y'all do this every single day, and so there's a lot of things that I don't know with it. So let me come in and talk with you guys to go through it, and that way I can, maybe better understand where y'all are coming from. And after meeting with them, I sat down with two members of the city of Savannah, and they were awesome. They really wanted to get the project moved forward, and I think they really wanted it to be done. And meeting with them, we went through and discussed a couple of possibilities. So basically, we can't have more than one use on the property. And so what the discovery was is that I need to have a attached addition to the property with an ADU on top of that. And so I wanted to do that because maybe it's the best of both worlds. I get more square footage out of the property. The tenant's kind of up and away. And so it just seemed like it ended up working out for the best. So after going through and talking with them, I asked them directly, I looked them in their eyes and I said, is there anybody else that will need to review these plans before approving? Because I'm about to spend thousands of dollars in a month or two to get these plans to where they need to be. And they told me, no, they're the people reviewing it and everything looks good. So we go through, and that is my third submittal, which is this. So, I try to use as many assets as I can from it. It's a little bit quicker throwing this together than it was the first one. But still, I went through and I made sure I followed all their criteria. I know the design is like, but it's mostly we're trying to get the project approved. That way we can move forward. I don't exactly have, money for all the pretty points. So, but going through this, they sent this, did all the work for it, sent it over to the city of Savannah, and then I get a phone call that one of the senior members has come back from their trip, and that this is not allowed because it's taller than the primary structure. So that was a lot of fun to have that conversation, and I'm more money in, more time in, more everything in, and I really just wanted to seek to understand at that point, but above all, I needed to get this thing to move forward. And so I went ahead and I basically made them uh, side by side, like it was in the first plan. but then I added a corridor to it. That way it is structurally attached to the primary structure, which acts more as an addition. And so that meant that, it's not higher than a primary, which is which is what they got me on. And then also they wanted it to be more of an addition, not just through a breezeway, which is what I added as well. And then I went ahead and submitted. And the next few steps was kind of interesting because I didn't hear anything back at first, and so I had to keep following up and following up with it because they're busy over there. They're just busy and they're understaffed, and so it totally is understandable. I'm sure it's very hard to get through all the projects that they're getting through, and so, but after following up, she's about to leave on vacation, the plan reviewer, and so I need to grab her today. So I ended up texting her that morning or emailing her and saying, hey, is there any way that we can meet before the end of the day? That way we can go over the plans and see, what the next steps are. And she said, sure, let me set up a meeting. So get into the meeting, and it's actually the senior member of the zoning review is in there, along with the plan reviewer. And we are, which I did not expect, but fortunately, with this plan reviewer, uh, we ended up making progress. So through the conversation, she was explaining why my first draft got denied, and he informed her that there are plenty of situations to where there are two accessory structures on a residential lot in Ardsley Park. There's no issue with that. There's nothing in the zoning code that says that. They couldn't find it. And in truth, my first set of plans should have been approved. And I spent after the months and the thousands of dollars and everything in there. I always say that I'm trying to be as cautious as I can with these things and plan beforehand. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing to understand is that these are people too. The city of Savannah are just trying to do the best job that they can with the resources that they have, and they're short staffed. And so my piece of learning advice that I would give from this is, even when you think you're giving more, even when you think you know a lot, or even when you think you have, had enough conversations with it, always seek to understand more. And I think if I had reached out beforehand because my gut feeling that my plans were right from the beginning, I would have avoided this. And it's not necessarily their fault because this happened because the zoning code is complicated. There are situations to where some things are approved in other areas and they're not in others. And so it's one of those things to where, as developers or as investors, we have to take on that responsibility ourselves and be able to understand where we're coming at, and then ask and seek to understand, and don't judge. Because if you come at it from that mindset, then the only thing you're trying to do is learn to be better for next time. And when we move forward in that, I think that we get better as a community, and I think we end up having better projects that move faster, and we create better things. So anyway, so this is our final, basically, draft of it. So primary residence with a hallway connecting them to a garage with an ADU in the back. And yeah, that's just about it. If anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. It's a fun project, and I'm hoping to break ground this week. Appreciate you.